So now it's my great pleasure to invite our next two panelists up on the stage and introduce them. George Jago from Geneva and Sir Adrian Hill. And Sir Adrian Hill has come probably the most difficult trip of anybody here, even though we have a lot of them, from Equatorial Guinea to Kigali to London to Calgary, and we're really happy that they made it. We have three panelists on this innovation section of our talk before lunch. So we're going to start with Gray Frandsen, who is the CEO of Oxitec. And when we asked all the speakers who came to this group here today, when we were inviting them, we said, could you please supply us with an inspiration quote? And Gray wrote, "It's time. The technology is here. Now's the time to deploy new solutions at scale." And Oxitec is the world's largest biologic solutions platform for elimination of vector-borne diseases. His career is stellar. He's worked for 2 presidents. He's worked for 2 secretaries of state. He's worked in the US Senate. And he was named one of the 10 most likely global leaders to end malaria by Malaria No More. So we're going to have him virtually today. He's recorded this speech for us, and we'll proceed with that before we have the 2 speakers who are here with us.
And I am so thrilled to be here with you virtually, and I'm sorry I'm not there in person. Today we're going to talk about the next generation of vector control tools, and in particular we're going to talk about some of our exciting work developing genetically modified mosquitoes to help fight against the very invasive, very dangerous malaria vector in urban environments called Anopheles stephensi. Before I do that, though, I want to give the Rotarians in the room a big shout out, because I will say from my personal experience as a board member of Pilgrim Africa, which is an NGO in Uganda, we've had a wonderful relationship with Rotarians in northern Uganda, where we've carried out some really great work together. And I am so inspired by the fact that Rotarians have taken up the challenge of malaria, and that you've brought together really a new constituency that is now focused on malaria when otherwise they may not have been. So I'm a big fan of your work. At some point it would be fun to find a way to work together, but may I just celebrate the fact that you there in the room are truly committed in doing the hard work. So let's ourselves get to work here tonight. I have just a few minutes, and I want to kind of walk you through a little bit of the Oxitec story, and then let's jump into what Oxitec, the Djiboutian government, and the Gates Foundation are doing in Djibouti, because it's very exciting. But let's first start with Oxitec. So we are a US-owned, UK-based biotechnology company, and if you're not familiar with us, we are the pioneers in genetically modifying insects and genetically modifying mosquitoes in particular. The easy way to think about it is we use biotechnology, science, to develop good mosquitoes to fight bad mosquitoes. In fact, the 2 individuals there are holding beautiful little products that Oxitec makes in Brazil to help fight the dengue mosquito, which is for sale now across the country, and I'll talk more about that. But good mosquitoes to fight bad mosquitoes, and if I can be successful in this talk, I will hopefully move you from, wow, that's interesting, GM mosquitoes, to GM mosquitoes are absolutely necessary as part of a new generation of vector control tools that we need to move to the front lines as soon as possible. It's not do they play a role, it's how quickly can we move them to implementation at scale. First, just a couple of minutes on Oxitec itself. I am very honored to represent a few hundred people around the world from 15 different countries, all of whom are focused on saving lives and improving livelihoods in communities that need interventions the most in relation to malaria, to dengue, and to a range of other insect-borne or pest-borne challenges. We are the first mover, so Oxitec 24 years ago came out of Oxford University, and really since then we have been continually innovating on how to use biology to solve for major pest challenges. Everything we do is rooted in deep science and a deep level of integrity as it relates to building new biological products, but we also do everything, we do all of our work in partnership with others. And that's one of the things I'm most proud of as I think about all of the work we do. We have wonderful partners in the form of national governments, health agencies, scientific institutions, universities, nonprofits, communities, foundations like the Gates Foundation, and I know Philip is going to be speaking if he hasn't already. Anyway, that's a big hallmark for us. Everything we've done is in collaboration with others who are equally committed to solving some of the big challenges like malaria that come from insects. Oxitec develops a whole range of technologies, so not just in mosquitoes, because we can use our platform that we've built to, in essence, manufacture and scale up solutions for agricultural crops, for example, and beyond. Here's just a brief snapshot of some of our partners, current and past, and I think you'll note some identifiable logos on here. Oxitec does pride itself on being a platinum partner that works hard to build trust with those we work with and those we seek to serve. Now let's talk just a little bit about Oxitec's technology. It's not too complex. We have figured out how to make helpful adaptations to an insect's genome that allow us to release only male mosquitoes in this case. And when we release those males, and by the way, males do not bite, they seek out and mate with wild-type female mosquitoes. All female progeny from that mating die, and all males continue to carry on a copy of the self-limiting gene for a few generations, adding yet more suppression effect for a few more weeks. It's safe, it's non-toxic, it is non-permanent, it is not a gene drive, and no part of this is dangerous to animals, humans, plants, water sources, beneficial or endangered species. We've proven this now for 20 plus years. It is a fully sustainable solution that we're very proud of. And part of that is kind of a review here then of a product system. So once we make changes to the biology of a mosquito that we're seeking to control, we build manufacturing facilities, upper left-hand diagram there. We place that into form factors that are easy to manufacture, that can be shipped and deployed by virtually anyone. And when you have just add water applications like I've shown you, that allows a community to deploy these technologies, or a government, allowing our males to come out into the environment, find those females, and begin suppressing the population. So the bottom left-hand curve is an illustrative example of how we can suppress populations very, very quickly and very significantly. Oxitec has scientifically proven and published in a number of instances suppression levels that far exceed 90%, making this really one of the most effective vector control solutions on the planet. Bottom right-hand graph is something a little less known about our technology, but a major benefit, and that is after you release a set of our males into the environment for a period of time, and while you're controlling a pest population, we can actually begin reversing resistance to chemical pesticides in the remaining population there. So in African kind of communities that have seen the heavy use of certain pesticides, they've seen an increase in resistance and in essence a drop in functionality of the pesticide. We can actually begin to reverse that. Now, we've not done that in malaria yet, we're just getting started, but this is a very promising feature of the technology. Likewise, when we think about the genetics, the manufacturing, we think a lot about deployment and what last mile delivery looks like. And we've spent a considerable amount of time and investment in product systems. So when you think about GM mosquitoes from a lab, we want to be as far away from that in mentality when it comes to productization as we can be. And what does that look like? It looks like simple form factors that can be deployed by anyone. And that's what we've done. So in Brazil, we are fully commercializing a dengue solution, friendly mosquitoes. They're called Aedes do Bem in Brazil. They're now being sold across the entire country, and governments, big employers, churches, schools, shopping malls, hotels, a huge range of organizations are now using our technologies to control the dengue mosquito in Brazil. And part of our, in essence, our pathway to scale, how do we take a GM mosquito solution, put it through the process I just shared with you, and then actually launch it into the field? We have built out the ability to create distribution partnerships of the type you see here, Rentokil and Ecolab, two big names that are maybe known to you. And we do that because we want to become excellent at making and manufacturing these innovative solutions. And we want to help other partners deploy in the last mile. We don't want to be that organization because that simply is not scalable. So let's talk about why we're here today. I have only a few minutes left. Oxitec in 2018 was approached by the government of Djibouti, and they asked us if we would consider building an Anopheles stephensi, a friendly stephensi mosquito, because they had seen an incredibly devastating invasion of this mosquito. And as you can see here, they went in this graph here, they went from near elimination of malaria in Djibouti, which is a port city in the Horn of Africa, and in just a few years, with the introduction of Anopheles stephensi, you can see a dramatic reversal of good fortune that they had seen up until that point. I mean, we're now talking about 70, 80,000 cases, and you can do the math, of course. Very, very difficult story here for the Djiboutians. So what did we do? We said, yes, of course. And we formed a public-private partnership with the government and with one of the main healthcare nonprofits or healthcare service providers, Mutualis, in Djibouti. And with generous support from the Gates Foundation, we are off and running. Oxitec has built the Anopheles stephensi. It is in country, and it is now in field trials in Djibouti. And we're just so thrilled at the progress we're making. A couple of the exciting things from my view, having done this for quite a while. Number one, the government came and asked us for this innovative solution. Number two, the government and a nonprofit are driving the implementation of this program. Oxitec is in the back seat. We're the developer of the technology. We make the technology. But in the case of engaging with communities and deploying the technology, this is resident in the hands of government and community organizations. It's absolutely rewarding, and it is certainly a very strong model for how we would view the deployment of certain of these technologies in the future. I'd love to see this. The program is focused on a few different pillars. I'm not going to go into all of these, but I will say that everything we do has the community in mind. We're building and deploying a sustainable vector control solution, of course, and at the same time we're building local capacity for entomology, for vector control, and for public health, which is really, really neat. Here are some baby photos. Normally this is not how you would view something as cute, but here is one of the transformation events, in essence us turning a wild-type mosquito into a friendly mosquito, and it's absolutely wonderful. Wonderful to see. Here are a couple of the lab shots, a couple of our team members there, and we have a rotating set of experts coming in from outside Djibouti to join team members inside Djibouti to work through everything from great lab practices, professional management of facilities, and the science. And we are absolutely enjoying our relationship with the regional scientific community, and in fact beyond. This program has really attracted so many good folks. I will end by sharing this photo. This is construction that was recently completed. This will be the African continent's largest mosquito production facility. It's still quite humble, looks nothing like some of our other facilities, but I would just stop here to say that the amount of energy and enthusiasm for this groundbreaking technology coming from an African nation and communities, I think, is beginning to set the template. It's beginning to knock down doors. It's beginning to set a precedent for how innovative technologies can move to market. And now, ideally, together, we can begin seeing these technologies take flight. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to meeting you soon.